Hello and welcome back to the channel. Thank you so much for being here. Today we are talking all about living and working and playing in Sandy Springs, Georgia here. North Atlanta, of course, is this channel, but we like to dig in a little bit deeper to each one of these cities and suburbs around North Atlanta. And so today we're in Sandy Springs. I'm going to show you this awesome neighborhood called Mount Vernon Woods. This is going to be like the first start here, if you will, of a bunch of different neighborhoods around Sandy Springs. So let's get right into it. Also, if this is the first time that you're on this channel, welcome, first and foremost. If you're coming back, thank you so much for coming back. Hopefully we're providing some value here, giving you a better idea of what it's like to live, work, and play here in North Atlanta, and specifically in Sandy Springs today. So if there's ever anything that we can do for you, please reach out anytime. We'd love to be a resource for you. We'd love to help you buy, sell, or invest here in North Atlanta. And whether you need to move in 9 hours or 9 years or 90 days, we can help with that. And of course, we have a ton of sellers now coming into the fold here in early December. What are we, January? Late January. It's been a week, can you tell? In late January, a lot more inventory coming on, but still a lot of opportunity. And so today we're going to show you this beautiful neighborhood called Mount Vernon Woods. I know it very, very well. I've probably sold more homes in here than any agent in North Atlanta. And I love this neighborhood for everything that it is. Just a really cool little mix of properties, but also a lot more opportunity coming. And you'll see what I mean by that in just a moment. But if there is ever anything that we can do for you, all of our contact info is down in the description. You can also schedule a Zoom call with us. We can hop on a normal phone call if you want to do that too. You can send us a text, you can send us an email. We just want to be a resource. So again, whether you're moving in 9 days, 9 minutes, 9 hours, 90 days, 9 years, 9 months, we can make it happen. Here we go on to Mount Vernon Woods real quick here. All right, so that's actually the first house that I sold there in the neighborhood. And to give you some geographic idea here of where we're talking about, Mount Vernon Woods straddles Mount Vernon Highway to the south and Abernathy Road to the north, and then Roswell Road to the west, and like Glen Ridge more or less to the east. And so I'll show you guys a lot of the different homes in here, but this location cannot be beat. You can literally be on 285 in probably 5 minutes or less, and then you can be on Georgia 400, which is the next north to south, in probably less than 3 minutes. In addition, I actually double-ended that house. I represented the seller and then had a buyer that came through an open house and they were unrepresented. And then we actually helped them sell their house that they were moving out of. But anyway, I digress. So great proximity to 400 and 285. Of course, the new City Springs, if you've been here for a minute, you've kind of seen our walk around there. But just in general, great proximity to 400 and 285 to get you into the city super quick. 15 minutes to downtown with no traffic. With traffic, you're probably a little bit closer, like 20 or 30 minutes. Depending on how much traffic there is at the time. Certainly COVID had a major impact on that, but it seems to be kind of coming back to like more of a normal, pattern, if you will. Additionally, there are a ton more people in Atlanta than there used to be. For a little while there, we were averaging 200 to 250 people a day moving to the Atlanta area, this 13, 14 county area. All right, so I'm gonna put you in the little phone holder here, but this neighborhood, again, Mount Vernon Woods here, basically built in the 50s, 60s, and 70s. And so you have a lot of traditional ranches, you have a lot of split levels, you have a lot of smaller, 1,500 square feet. All right, so we're up here at the pool area. There is a huge swimming pool as well as a 2-court tennis court. That's part of the neighborhood amenities. This HOA charges about $650 a year to have access to all that stuff. But this neighborhood was actually developed back in like the 50s and 60s. And you'll see that here with a lot of the homes. You do have some like really nice mid-century modern homes like this one over here. Most of the homes in here though, traditional ranches, 2-story ranches, some traditional ranch with like a partial basement on them. And then I think in the Developing Sandy Springs video, I talked a lot more about people investing and redoing a lot of these split level and typical ranch homes, and or tearing down and making something like this more modern property here. But you can kind of get an idea here of a lot of topography in here. That's a home that's currently, they popped the top on that, which is another alternative that you can do as well. There's another little ranch there. We sold this one about 2 years ago, and helped represent the seller on that one. These two are actually coming up on the market. So you got one little split level here, and then another little ranch here. And again, most of the ranches in here, 1,500 square feet, 1,700 square feet. Some that need a lot of work, but, and then of course your 1-for-1 infill, where they tear down the old homes like this and build what you just saw there. So kind of a nice little mix in here. A lot of construction happening at this time, and you can see even more construction happening. But you know, this is another home that was just finished here about 2 years ago. And again, you know, you get a really nice little mix in here of new properties, but a ton of people investing into this neighborhood. So I identified about 60 properties in this neighborhood that are about a half acre to a little over an acre. Now, this is really, I think this is going to be hard to see with the light the current way it is, but just a beautiful home here, modern construction. They're actually closing on that house here pretty soon, I believe. But anyway, and then again, you know, just your normal, this lot though is absolutely amazing. Makes it a really good option for, you know, something like this that's more modern, certainly more efficient. And again, just tons of ranches and split levels that I think are perfect for the teardown idea, because you really get a great piece of property. And you know, when you see 30 or 40 homes that have been rebuilt, or you know, 1-for-1 infill done like these two here, I mean, these are massive homes with full basements, you know, 5,000, 6,000 square feet, really well done, traditional type, you know, look to them. And then the old school stuff. One of the other properties that I sold in this neighborhood though, is probably one of the most unique homes in Sandy Springs. I can't actually get video of it from the street because of how far back off the street it sits. But if you've been following me for a little while here, you've probably heard me mention or talk about the cabin house. And it was a live edge wood cabin, basically, in the middle of Sandy Springs in this neighborhood. And like I said, 15-20 minutes from downtown. And when we were going through and listing that property, it was quite a challenge to try to understand, you know, when you have comparables, it's a lot easier for someone to say, you know, this many square feet sold for this much, and therefore this one should sell for that much. But the square footage is only one indicator, one measurement of, you know, what can be done with a particular property. And with that one, it was very difficult because it was such a unique property. Fortunately, I'm happy to say that my sellers and the buyer, I think, all got what they wanted out of that property. Super unique, very, very difficult to try to manipulate and understand, you know, how you value something like that. But in talking with my client, you know, it was very easy for us to kind of come to a place where homes like that are very unique go one of two ways. They either go super quick and get into a bidding war, or you are looking for the needle in the haystack, the individual, the one person that would love to buy a home like that. Unfortunately, we found that only within about a week, and that was about 2 years ago now. But so certainly he's seen a ton of appreciation in that house now. But here's another one that we're under contract on at the time. Or I should say at this time. This property actually we listed, we didn't even list it, but we got the paperwork and everything done back, I guess, about a month ago or so. And you know, in this changing market where we're going from a white hot seller's market to more of a balanced market, and we're not there yet. Here in Atlanta, Georgia, we only have like 2 months of inventory at this point. So that's still a very hot seller's market. The problem that I have with the inventory that's out there currently is that a lot of it needs work. Almost none of it's move-in ready. And if it is, it's still going lightning fast. So we're still in a seller's market here in January, but a deal like this where, and when I say deal, I don't mean they got a deal. My seller, the person I'm representing for this property, purchased this property not too long ago, and he held on to it, and he had plans for it. His plans changed, and that's why we ultimately sold it, or you know, tried to engage with someone that wanted to buy it. It hasn't closed yet, But by the time you see this, it probably will have. But working in an off-market scenario is very, very different than just putting the house on the market, throwing a sign in the yard, taking some pictures, and hoping for the best. You know, that's not really our specialty. We do it every single day, but really where we're most dangerous and where we bring the most value to our clients, especially sellers, is working off-market deals like this. I made a ton of phone calls on that house, tried to work with a ton of different people that wanted to be in this type of neighborhood, and we were able to find them. So anyway, I'm going to show you a couple more properties over here that are under construction or in various stages of construction. The really nice thing about this neighborhood, and I don't think I've mentioned this yet in the video, is there's like 3 layers of product here. So the first is you have the smaller homes that might be split level, might be ranches, just smaller footprints in general, that those are being torn down and these 1-for-1 infills are coming in. The second is that you have something a little bit larger, maybe 2,000 to 3,000 square feet. Where we're crossing over now in this part of the neighborhood is actually built like in the 60s and 70s. And so you really only had like one house for every 3 or 4 lots, and then they started subdividing stuff out. So these larger 2,000 and 3,000 square foot homes, a lot more people now are actually coming into the neighborhood. They're taking down walls, they're taking down old drywall, they're taking down old paneling, and they're putting up all new stuff. They're putting in new insulation, they're putting new bathrooms and kitchens and everything else. And actually this one over to the right here, right there, is a really good example of you know, a larger home that has been just completely renovated. And then the third is that 1-for-1 infill that's a new construction that's, you know, typically more than 4,000 square feet, but it's been built in the last, say, 10 years, 15 years maybe. And I would say we're almost to a perfect 30% split on each one of those. But the challenge with this neighborhood, and the reason that a lot of people don't build in here, is simply because of the topography. It makes it quite challenging. You could have an extra $50,000 to $100,000 in foundation work that if you had a perfectly flat lot, you would never have to do. And a lot of people are price sensitive enough that $100,000 in an extra foundation, yeah, it may give you more square footage, yeah, it may give you more value in general, but not many people are willing to spend $50,000 to $100,000 in addition to your normal foundation. So we'll try to give you a little bit better idea here of the topography that you're looking at when you typically come into the neighborhood. So this is coming on to Williamson from Abernathy, but immediately you're just met with this giant hill for like the first 5 to 6 homes here on the right and about 3 or 4 homes on the left. So I mean, already here we're up about 60 feet from Abernathy. So, you know, again, topography is a challenge in this neighborhood, and it probably makes about 15 to 20 of the lots in this neighborhood almost completely unbuildable. And what I mean by that is, with time and money, anything can be done, but with these particular lots, there are restrictions at the city level as to what you can build on those lots. So there's a lot of streams, there's a lot of creeks, there's a lot of, you know, dry running beds that when it rains they fill up, and then when it stops raining the water stops, and you know, it's a natural place where water gathers. And so in this particular neighborhood you have like 15 to 20 homes because of local code and because of local control over what you can and cannot build here in Sandy Springs. At the moment, at least, you cannot build within 75 feet of those streams. You cannot put heavy equipment within 75 feet of those streams, unless of course you have a variance and you get grandfathered in because of size restrictions, stuff like that. But that's why you hire an expert. You don't get this from your typical agent, and you don't typically get this level of information from your typical agent because they don't know. They don't have any idea the specialty that goes into building a property. And that's why we've been successful. We've had the success that we have had with people in this neighborhood, particularly around building new construction properties. Obviously, if you don't have those issues, you do still have restrictions. You do still have parameters that you have to fit into. And the city of Sandy Springs has been very, very challenging with those because they wanted to maintain the character of the homes and the neighborhoods, and they wanted everything to coalesce basically. But anyway, let's show you one more home here real quick that we just sold, and then we will end the video. But if you ever have any questions about this neighborhood or the others around it, we're going to be doing more neighborhood tours like this. So if there's a particular house that you're looking at in a particular neighborhood, you want a video like this, literally all you have to do is reach out and send me a note, or you can comment down below and leave me a note here in the video, and we'll get it done for you. Before we show you this last property though, I came across the street here from the neighborhood across Mount Vernon. So I'm on the south side of Mount Vernon, and there's two entrances on either side. So you have two entrances on Mount Vernon, you have two entrances on Abernathy. You'll notice there's a difference in signage at this time, but this particular HOA is going through and they're waiting for this road to be expanded. This is Mount Vernon here. Eventually this road will be expanded and it will be reconfigured to hopefully make traffic a little bit better around rush hour time, because right now it's an absolute disaster. But the great thing about this location is that you literally have Mount Vernon right here. If you continue up Mount Vernon there, you're right in the heart of Sandy Springs. You're in City Springs down there, which there's a whole nother video on this if you have not seen any of that. It's literally walkable to that area up there with all the restaurants and gyms and coffee shops, all that type of stuff. But because, again, we are community engaged, we know that this entire street is going to be reconfigured, and they're going to have a whole nother cut-through road here that doesn't even exist right now, which is going to really take a lot of the pressure off of the neighborhoods where a lot of cut-through traffic happens. So generally in Sandy Springs, if you can find a street with a cul-de-sac, or a home with a cul-de-sac, we should say, those are significantly more desirable and make for a better resale eventually. But if you head east down Mount Vernon, you've got Mount Vernon Presbyterian School and Church down that way, which makes it a great location. Obviously, you could walk to school, private school there if you wanted to. But if we take a left here, head west, I'll show you the last home that we sold in here most recently. This was actually sold last year. And you do have the Sandy Springs Library here, also walkable. So when we talk about amenities and accessibility, I mean, really, really, really nice. Really nice to be in this area. So this is Hunting Creek that we're currently on. This was the last, I think the second to last one we sold, other than the one that was off market. But again, just want to give you guys a little more perspective on some of the homes here. If you ever have any questions or comments, or see a particular home in one of these videos that you would like to purchase, we're always working with buyers and sellers in this neighborhood. This is one of our geographic farms, and basically all that means is that we're constantly in conversation with people about the homes in this neighborhood, what's happening with them, you know, can you build, can you not build, you know, is there anything in particular that might fit your budget, your lot size, taste, all that type of stuff. Anyway, that is today's video. Thank you so much for coming along. Hopefully there was something of value there. If there's ever anything that we can do for you, please reach out anytime. We'd love to be a resource. And look out for more of these neighborhood tours and neighborhood videos. We're going to be doing a lot more of them, showing you most of the neighborhoods around the City Springs area and the Sandy Springs downtown area. Again, that's kind of our specialty. That's where we focus most of our energy and effort. And that's where we know the most about each one of these properties and kind of what's happened and transitioned over the last couple of years here. So anyway, if you have not yet hit that subscribe button though, make sure you do that so you don't miss a single video about what it's like to live, work, and play here in North Atlanta, and specifically Sandy Springs today. But if there's ever anything we can do for you, reach out anytime. Again, all of our contact info down in the description here, but you can also hop on a Zoom with us. We'd love to be a resource for you in the future. And if you're thinking about making a move to North Atlanta, give us a call anytime. Talk to you soon. Bye-bye.